What we see most as counselors right through the province is an increase in a child's ability or inability to cope with the regular stressors of their lives. The increase in the amount of anxiety that they're feeling is probably the number one concern for most school counselors.
And what age range are we talking about here?
Mostly my experience is with high school right now, but talking with my colleagues in the primary elementary schools, they're seeing it in lower primary. We're seeing children that are struggling, in grade 1 and grade 2, even in kindergarten.
That strikes me as so sad.
It is. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just this week, Boyd, we heard of a 12-year-old boy who was videotaped while he was in a bathroom stall at school. That was posted. Now that child is so stressed out, so anxious, he doesn't want to go back to school. What do you think when you hear that?
There's a part of me that gets really angry because school's difficult. It's difficult for preteens and teens. It's difficult for all of them at the junior high level. But when you have something that puts you in the limelight in such a negative capacity, I just love to be able to say to him, you know what, you've done nothing wrong. You just go back to school, hold your head high, and you talk to people about what you're going through. It's unfortunate.
When you talk with students who are stressed out, have anxiety, one-on-one, are they identifying something that's at the root of this? Are they able to articulate what's going on?
Some of them are. Most of them will initially identify the thing that's actually causing them to stress at the moment. It could be presenting in front of class. It could be that they just don't feel comfortable in the hallways at school. It could be the whole gamut of things. As the root of why those things are happening, we don't always get to them.
What's the parents' role in all of this?
It's so important that they have that relationship where they can speak to one another. We're seeing less and less of that these days. But I keep going back to a parenting style, and I have a 10-year-old son. I'm guilty of it as well. We don't want to see our children suffer. We don't want to see them unhappy or disappointed. So what we do is that sometimes that we create situations whereby that they don't experience those things, or when they are experiencing those things, we'll fix it for them.
You've told me you're seeing a lot of medication as well.
Yeah.
Children are, when they're facing issues like this, are being medicated. What exactly are you seeing?
We're seeing a lot of young teenagers that are on medication for anxiety, for depression. And don't get me wrong, there are young people out there that are suffering significantly. We're seeing that it might not be the only component to their anxiety, their stress, but it happens a lot during exam time. We'll get notes from doctors excusing students from exams or asking for specific accommodation because they're unable to write in the gymnasium, or they're not able to cope with the entire exam setting.
You're talking about a real societal shift.
Absolutely.
Be it parents or doctors who are prescribing based on a request from a parent.
It happens, absolutely.
How do we change these things? Do you see any light at the end of this tunnel that we seem to be going down?
Honestly, I'm a little scared. I'm scared that we're not going to put the brakes on fast enough. We have a lot of young people that are struggling with anxiety, and we're treating it as if though it's an illness, and it's not necessarily an illness. It can develop into something more significant, but we need to be able to allow children, when they're young, to face disappointment and rejection, failure, all of those things that we don't want our young people, our children, to feel, but they need to feel them in order to be able to develop that resiliency, that thick skin to know that in me, you know what, I can survive that. And if we take that away as a young child, then they have nothing to fall back on when they get older. So when mom and dad can't fix that particular situation, then they fall apart. They're unable to cope. And it's so unfortunate because it is fixable, right? Anxiety is not a bad thing. Anxiety allows us to perform to our optimum. It pushes us out of our comfort zone so that we can develop both emotionally and socially.
Boyd Perry, a very large topic to say the least. We will leave it there. Thank you very much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks so much.